Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Wyatt, and Sam was my dad. On Christmas Eve 2009, my mom picked me up and brought me home. When I walked in the door, I was greeted by this huge animal that I thought was a bear. He was a bit scary, but seemed to really like my mom, so maybe he wasn't so bad. His name was Rocky, and he was my new brother. After I finally relaxed, I heard the front door open and had to go investigate who was there. This man just stared at me with a huge smile on his face. He immediately got down on the floor and encouraged me to come say hi. I couldn't help but run up to him because he looked so friendly, and I knew right away that he was a dog person. He hugged and kissed me and could not stop petting me. It was a bit overwhelming, but he was so excited. My mom was all smiles when she told me that this man was my dad. The first order of business was to give me a name. My mom tried every Italian name: Guido, Luigi, Vinny, as my dad sat quiet. Finally, my dad perked up and said, "How about Wyatt?" I couldn't help but look at him with my head tilted to the side. He started asking me if I like Wyatt, and I let him know I approved by wagging my tail. Sam and Wyatt, best friends. That sounded good. I wasn't always the best dog in the beginning. The first couple of years, I had incredible separation anxiety, and that successfully destroyed lots of things in our house. I ate the couch, dining room table and chairs, the carpet, baseboards, but my best work was chewing a hole through the dining room wall. My parents tried to put me in a crate for my own good when they would go out, but once they stepped out the door, I could be heard howling, and my dad would have to come back and rescue me. He would tell me to be a good boy and to rest while they were gone. I tried so hard, but I missed them, especially my dad, so much that I had to do something to occupy my time. When they would get home, my mom would be so mad at me and my dad. My dad never really got too mad at me, not even when I ate his favorite baseball mitt. He would tell my mom that it was his fault he left it out, and then let me know I made a mistake, then give me a cookie. I wish you could have seen my mom's face. I even heard her ask my dad if it was a mistake that they left the couch in the living room and the table and chairs in the dining room. My dad would just laugh and agree that I shouldn't have done it, but being angry was not going to change the fact that the damage was already done. He was so calm and understanding, almost like he got me. As I got older, my behavior got better. I anxiously awaited my dad's arrival home from work every day because I knew we would go on a walk, play ball, go to the park, or my favorite, go swimming. I will never forget the day my dad taught me to swim. I know that sounds weird because I'm a lab and should love the water, but my brother Rocky was deathly afraid of the water. We would just run around the pool and bark at the pool sweep. One day, it was really hot. I had been playing ball in the backyard and was getting a bit overheated. My dad thought it would be a good idea to cool me off by putting me in the pool. He tried coaxing me, but I never got further than putting my two front paws on the front step. Even though I knew my dad would never let anything happen to me, I was so scared. My dad laughed and said, "We're not going to have the only lab that can't swim." With that, he grabbed me in his arms and lowered me into the water. He never let go of me, even though I started dog paddling and scratching his arms. He would take me close to the stairs, and when I thought I felt confident, he would let me go and push me towards the stairs. He did this several times, and within an hour, I was swimming like a champ. Now you can't keep me out of the pool. Sometimes, if no one wants to take me, I just go through the gate to my grandpa's house and go jump in the pool for a little swim and come back to my house. My dad tried to take me everywhere he went when he was not at work. I loved going in the car with him, especially when he took me to the golf course. That place was huge, and I could run and chase the ball all day. One day, My dad threw the ball and it went where he could not see me. He never worried because I would never leave him and he would eventually catch up. My dad never yelled at me, but when he saw me, I heard him say loudly, "Are you kidding me, Wyatt?" I didn't understand why I was in trouble, so I kept swimming in the pond on one of the holes on the back nine. Since he never really got mad, I ignored him for a bit despite his desperate attempts to get me out. He never put me on a leash because I was such a good listener. Well, maybe not that day. I think he was the most frustrated because I had to get in the car and was muddy and wet. No one knew me better than my dad. He knew what made me comfortable and what made me uncomfortable. He made sure I was always in situations where I could relax and enjoy life. He never took me to dog parks because he knew there was always going to be a dog that tried to play with me when all I want to do is chase the ball. I loved when we go to the Brookside School so I could play with my dad-approved friends. He knew that I needed to be with dogs that were calm and wanted nothing more than to run with me, not at me. Nothing made him angrier than when a new dog parent would show up and just let their dog run free while sitting on a bench texting or talking on the phone. One day, this puppy would not leave me alone. My dad very nicely kept moving us to other parts of the field, but this puppy would not stop jumping all over my face, nipping at me and trying to get my ball. Finally, I had enough, and I got a bit angry at the dog, at which my dad had to come and tackle me before I got too mad and did something I regret. I know I should have kept it together, but I knew my dad would always have my back. He was my hero. For almost 11 years, I had a very set routine. My parents would get up, feed me, get ready for work, and leave me with some treats while they went to work. My dad would always be home first. I would hear his car pull up the driveway, race to the front door, and wait for him to open it. I would lose it. I would start barking, smiling, and wag my tail so hard that I thought it would fall over. My favorite person was home, and I had to let him know how much I loved him. After he got home, we would eat lunch, call my mom, and then take a nap. I would assume my normal nap position, which was above my dad's head, on the pillows. After our nap, I would go for a walk or go swimming. Then I would lay on the chair that my parents bought me, where I would stare at my dad all night long. When I got antsy, I would stand right in front of him and browbeat him until he got up and took me for my evening walk. We would go looking for critters, but more importantly, we would talk to everyone in the neighborhood. My dad was definitely the mayor of our neighborhood. Everyone knew him, and he knew them mostly by their dogs, my kind of guy. He loved checking in with everyone to make sure they were okay. He knew everything about all of their families and always offered any sort of help he could. One night, during a walk, he stopped to fix the chain on a bike of one of the neighborhood kids. He was simply the best. My favorite night walk was going to Memorial Park so you could see your fan club that consisted of 75-plus-year-old women. You were such a ladies' man. I will never forget the time that you brought wine for their birthday. They told me that they were so sad by your passing and that you were the highlight of their day. They will miss your smile. Starting last March, my mom was able to work from home. The world was in some sort of a pandemic, so she got to spend more time with me. It was nice because now there were two of us who anxiously awaited my dad to get home. Before my dad would leave for work every morning, he would kiss my mom, give me a kiss and a pet on the head, and tell us he loved us. My mom would tell him to be careful, and he would tell us he would see us very soon. Last year, I sat all day and waited by the front door. Every time I would hear a car, I would jump and run to the back gate and then to the front door, but it was never him. There were lots of cars coming and going that day, but none of them were ever my dad's. I just laid under the table all day as people came and went from the house. I knew he would come home eventually. He promised me every day that he would see me later. Maybe he was on a trip. Maybe he had to go somewhere. When my mom and I went to bed that night, I laid on the deck all night so I wouldn't miss him when he came home. As the days went by, I kept up my daily routine, including laying at the bathroom door around 4 each day, which is when Dad would take a shower before we would go have some fun. I should have known something was wrong because my mom was not the same. She didn't take me for walks, but would just sit and hug me and kept saying, "I'm sorry." I didn't know what she meant. My dad used to tell me every day how much he loved me and how I was his favorite dog in the whole world. He promised that he would always take care of me and never let anything ever happen to me. He fought off 2 raccoons one night when they were attacking me in my own backyard. He would always say that he never knew what he would do without me and that it was going to be one of the hardest days of his life when he had to say goodbye. He made me promise that I would tell him when it was time and that he would never let me suffer. My mom would always tell him that we didn't have to worry about me going anywhere anytime soon. I have finally come to figure out that my dad is not coming home. He has gone to join Rocky and our other furry family members. I didn't think I would ever have to know what life was like without him. Since I didn't get to say goodbye to him, I just wanted him to know how much I loved him. Thank you, Dad, for giving me the best 11 years of my life. I miss you more than you will ever know. You were so selfless with me and did everything you could to make me happy. My life is definitely different now, but Mom and I are trying our best to do this without you. We know you are up there watching over us, and when my time comes to join you, I look forward to meeting you at the Rainbow Bridge.